Anyway, listen, guys, let's begin with women's football. On Friday, the Black Queens took on Zambia. It's a penultimate round of qualifiers for the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. That game against Zambia was expected to be a very difficult match. And indeed, it was difficult because they were coming up against a Zambia team that had made the last Olympic Games and also the last FIFA Women's World Cup. So it's a team on the ascendancy. They have the most expensive women's footballer in the world. And yeah, she was the difference. Rahel Kudananji, that's her with the white hair. She chipped the goalkeeper in the first half to give Zambia the lead. And the Black Queens never recovered from that. Of course, going on to lose by 1-0, despite a very resurgent second half. Very impressive performance from them. Hit the upright and what have you. But in the end, they lost by a goal to nothing. And now they have to play the return leg on Wednesday in Ndola. And that's not going to be an easy one, obviously. Guys, this was a highly anticipated match, and this is the goal. It was a really awkward situation. And look at Kudananji behind the defense, the goalkeeper off her line, and look at that. Listen, you can't fake quality. That is a fantastic finish. Not a lot of people to blame, especially in that final third. In the middle of the park was where it all went wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. And of course, the back line had backed up the whole team when the team was shifted into the half of Zambia. So there was so much space in behind them. And when you're going to play up with the high line, then your press has to be aggressive. Because the earlier you win the ball, the more likely you are. The earlier you're likely to win the ball, the more likely you are to stop the ball from getting in behind you. But once they got in behind that Black Queens team, it was all down to her quality. And that is why a team has paid a top dollar to sign her, and she showed her quality. Like as you said, in that first half, I thought it was the Black Queens struggled. They couldn't find rhythm or whatsoever. But the second half was a completely different game. They actually asked some questions of Zambia. And that for me, again, last week when we were here, I said that this fixture will tell us how far the team has come, because the team has won games against teams that are not necessarily the biggest in women's football in Africa. But when you play against Zambia, a team that just came back from the World Cup, and you're able to match them up in the way they did, it's a very respectable scoreline. And what we're hoping for was that the game will still be alive going into the return fixture. I know it's going to be difficult because Zambia are favourites at home, but listen, 1-0 away at home to Zambia, very good team, and going into the second leg knowing that the game is still alive is not the worst of results.
I don't know, what we always say is that, somebody can look at that second half performance and say it was good. The problem is, when you're away from home, it's really hard to put up such performances.
It's really hard. For me, I just feel it was that mental block from the team. Because to be honest, this is the game with the most pressure that they've ever faced.
And the most fans.
And the
they
most
played
fans
in front of since 2018.
Exactly. So they are not necessarily used to this. And you could see the very slow start. In the second half, I think when Grace Asantewaa was given that freedom to move forward, that's when we started piecing up some very nice moves, creating some good scenarios in there. I thought in the first half, at least first 50, 60 minutes, the forwards were a bit too isolated. You saw Doris Bedio having to drop deep to do too much. And you want her up top in the final third, causing damage, as well as Evelyn Bedu also. But in the second half, when Grace Asantewaa was given that freedom to move a bit up front, that's when we were able to find them. Obviously, we didn't get the goal. But you talk about a positive to take into the second leg, and that is a positive. We can start on the front foot. And for me, we said it last week, this is a very, very difficult tie. Yeah. We are facing basically one of the best teams on the continent. We have dropped. Yes, we are Ghana, but our current form doesn't suggest that we are on the top. So this team is a work in progress. So if you're able to, I'm judging it based on performances. If you're able to match them at least in large moments of the game, it will give me some good confidence going forward. I don't expect the Black Queens to go to Zambia and get the win, but I think they can, on the basis of what I saw in the last 30, 40 minutes in the game at the Accra Sports Stadium, I think they can go there and give the Zambians Yeah,
couldn't
around
run
for their money.
The
It won't
Zambian
be
defense
easy,
was
obviously.
actually really good. Many people didn't, we were all talking about their attack, because that's where the star names are, but their defense held their own like really well against very incessant pressure from the Black Queens. But that game is on Wednesday, so we'll see what happens. In other matches, Cameroon came up against Nigeria. The first leg ended 0-0, and Nigeria played today, and they beat Cameroon in the second leg by 1-0 in Nigeria, which means that they now get to face the winner of South Africa versus Tanzania for that other ticket to the Paris Olympic Games. The other ticket will come from Ghana's side of the draw. So the winner of this Ghana-Zambia tie will face the winner of the Tunisia versus Morocco tie for the last ticket to the Paris Olympic Games. So it's a very, very long trip to the Olympic Games. 4 rounds of matches, 4 rounds of qualifying. It's unbelievable. Before the game, there were some people who thought that the Queens were going to qualify once they beat Zambia.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it was another round of games waiting for them. So we wish them all the best.